Hey y'all, it's Click for K. Thanks for clicking for me. And if you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you also follow me on all of my other social media pages at Click for K on Instagram and TikTok. It's 2 Y's on TikTok. As you can see by the title, we are again doing our TikTok story times, but we're doing something a little different. Today we're doing the scary ones, and the sun is going down, so we're gonna just try to get right up into it because no.
Let me tell you why you shouldn't play with your shadow. Scary story time. So, my godfather, he watches my TikToks a lot, and obviously, he loved my content, and he's also Haitian. And he called me the other day, and he was like, I have so many stories for you to tell your followers of things that happened to me when I was in Haiti, and this is one of them. So, he said he was really young at the time, like he was a young boy, and one night, right before his bedtime, he was just playing around. And for some reason, he just started playing with his shadow, just dancing with his shadow. He was dancing and dancing and dancing, and he was having a great time. And finally, when it was time for him to go to bed, he went to bed. And this is when it starts. Have y'all ever heard of the Hat Man? The man in the hat that supposedly is in everybody's dream, right? When he was telling me this story, y'all, he didn't even know who the Hat Man was. And I had to tell him, I was like, yo, he was in your dream too? Anyways, he goes to sleep and he wakes up in the middle of the night. He said he was dreaming, but it wasn't a dream. Like the way it felt, it was not a dream. He woke up, but it was not a dream. I don't know how to explain it. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, he wakes up and there's the Hat Man. The Hat Man walks into his room and just looks at him with this creepy smile. He is terrified, y'all. So then the Hat Man walks closer to him, and guess what he tells him? Come dance with me. Come dance with me. And as he's saying, come dance with me, he's backing up. He's like, come dance with me. Come dance with me. He's backing up. And as he backs up, he gets to the door, he stops. And all of a sudden, my godfather hears drums outside. Now, if you're Caribbean, it's not just like the regular drums, but like the tambour. And if you know tambour sounds like that was a terrible interpretation, but you get it. And it sounds like there is a party outside. And as soon as the drum starts going, the Hat Man starts dancing right there in front of him. And the dance that he was doing, my godfather said is so creepy. At this point, he's crying. Like he's a young boy, and at this point, he is in tears, y'all. And the Hat Man it just keeps telling him, come dance with me, come dance with me, come dance with me. He's dancing and it's telling him, come dance with me. He's dancing. It's like, and it's like a whole lot of people outside. You hear the people outside dancing and partying, kind of like a ritual, right? My godfather is screaming, crying. So then his mom, for some reason, she knew what was going on. I don't know how, but she knew what was going on. She came into that room, took him to her room. Now, obviously, she didn't see anything in the room. It was only my godfather that saw everything that was happening. Oh, but the story doesn't end there. So he goes to his mom's room, and of course he feels a little bit safer, because he's with his mom. So he goes back to sleep. Then he starts dreaming again, but this time the dream was a little different. He starts dreaming that he's somewhere in his neighborhood home, right? And then he sees this group of people in all white. Everybody's dressed in all white. And then when he says this to me, he goes, this is why till this day I think all white parties are really some kind of ritual, bro, and people don't even know. But anyway, so everybody is in all white. And guess what? Same thing, except the Hat Man is not there. It's all different types of people. And then there's this lady, and it's the same thing. Drums, everybody's dancing, and he starts getting scared all over again because now he's having a nightmare. And there's this lady that steps out, and the lady comes and says, come dance with us. Come on, come dance with us. Come dance with us. And he books it. And the lady, he vividly remembers the face of this lady because obviously it was terrifying for him in his dream. So he books it, he runs, whatever. He wakes up, it's the next day, it's fine. But it doesn't end there. The next day, while he's home, guess who comes in front of his house? The lady that he saw from the dream. The lady comes in front of his house where his mother was, and starts cursing at his mother and start cursing at him. And I mean, she's cursing. I mean, she's going. She is going. And she's like cursing them out for no reason. And she's saying like hurtful things, things that would piss you off, things that would make you want to punch somebody. But his mom says nothing. And his mom looks at him and says, do not respond, do not say anything. She tells my godfather to get in the house, and he does, but she stays outside. And mind you, the lady is only getting madder because she's not getting a response. She's going in. Mind you, she was causing a scene. Like, people are starting to gather around to figure out, like, what is this lady's problem? And finally, once she realizes that his mom knows what she's doing and she's not responding, she starts to pick up rocks and throwing it at the house, throwing it at the house. And all his mom did was look at her and say, I know you're here for my son, but you won't be getting him. And just gets in the house and says nothing else to her. And eventually, she leaves. Now, what happened was they wanted her son. They wanted her son's soul. She knew that, but we don't know how she knew that. But then again, it's our elders. Like, there's certain things that they just know and that we don't. And my godfather almost says that, like, till this day, he wishes he asked his mother, like, how did you know? Now, I think the lesson in this story is that you don't always have to engage with everybody that tries to get on your nerves. When the enemy is trying you, you don't have to always engage, because sometimes that's what they want. They want you to respond. You ever heard the saying, soon as you get angry, you lose? Well, sometimes you lose just for even responding. She was looking for a response. Had his mom said, oh, bitch, who you talking to? Da-da-da-da. That's it right there. That's all she needed. Now her son is gone. Had her son said something, that's all she needed. Now her son is gone. Not everybody that's trying you need to respond to. You understand what I mean? You really need to learn in this world, bro. This is an evil world, especially with like witchcraft and stuff. You need to know, bro. You need to understand that you don't have to engage in everything. Sometimes you have to know to just walk away, not because you're pussy, not because of any other reason, but for your own well-being. Your pride can get you killed. He told me a couple of other stories too. So with great lessons just like this one. Let me know if y'all want me to tell that story, and I'll make a story time.
So first of all, I was about to get on here on Beyonce's internet and say I never seen a Hat Man in my dream, but as I'm thinking about it, I have, like, when I have those vivid dreams, when I remember them when I wake up, I always tell somebody, and I do remember saying that I saw a guy with a hat peek into my door. So that just kind of freaked me out because I didn't know that was a thing, and I'm not about to go down a TikTok rabbit hole because I won't be able to sleep tonight. Like I said, the sun is going down. And then number two, I think I like the whole wrap up and lesson of it all because I wouldn't say I have an anger problem, but once I get up there, it's up there, and even if I know that I need to bring it back down, it takes me a minute to come back down. And road rage is, I got it bad. And a lot of times when I exert energy into somebody that really can't even hear me cussing them out from my car, okay? Like, I'm yelling in the car at you for being dumb, cutting me off, almost hit my car, whatever happened. And you don't even know what I'm saying. And then afterwards, I'm literally like breathless, like huffing and puffing in the car, all of that. Like, I feel like steam is coming out the top of my head. Like, I feel like I've turned into a different character. And it's true. I can see how something can probably take control of your soul when you in a mindset like that. So it was just kind of like a reminder to control your feelings, control your emotions.
This girl emailed me and she was like, my ex-boyfriend sold his soul or channeled a demon to become a successful rapper. So I wasn't actually going to post a lot this week because I'm actually at my mom's house. I'm in her guest bedroom, but this one's really good. So she told me that she met this guy in high school. They went to high school together. He dropped out. She graduated. And actually in high school, they weren't together because he actually had a baby with like some girl that she knew. Like, they weren't really friends, but whatever. He has a baby with her. She graduates. He had dropped out to become a successful rapper and like work on his rap career. After they graduate, somehow they get together. I'm not really sure the details on that, but pretty soon after they get together, she gets kicked out of her family's house. I don't really know the details on that either, but she said it's not really relevant to the story. So she moves in pretty soon after they start dating with him, his mom, and then sometimes his daughter's there. They have virtually no money. He's working a little bit. She's working at the mall. She's going to work every day. She's trying to help him provide for his daughter, and he's working on his rap career when he's not at work. He does a song that goes semi-viral around 2020. That song got attention of a big producer who lives in Los Angeles. The producer's team reaches out to him and basically tells him, hey, we want to bring you out here. We want to like work with you. And he's all excited. He goes to her. He's like, I can't believe this is happening. She's like, you need to go, baby. They fly him out. He doesn't talk to her a lot that day, but he basically just tells her, like, I'm with these people. Like, they're super important. They're teaching me everything I need to know. But he does FaceTime her that night while he's at the studio. He calls her the next morning. He's like, hey, I'm going to be pretty busy today. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to talk to you, but like, just so you know, everything is going really, really well. I'll tell you about it when I get home. He was supposed to fly home the next day. He was only there for 2 days. So he gets home. He's all excited. He says, like, he's going to continue working with these people. I don't know if there was like a contract signed or whatever, but basically he's hook, line, and sinker. He's in with them. He tells her about the producer, and then he tells her about this girl that's like the producer's assistant or like part of his team. I'm not really sure her role, but we're just going to call her Jazz for the story. And Jazz has sort of been like the point of contact that her boyfriend is working with this whole time. Like, she's the one that reaches out on behalf of the producer. She's the one that makes all the travel arrangements. So the night that he gets home, after he tells her all about his trip, all about all the people, he just basically tells her, hey, I might be different for the next couple weeks because I'm in work mode. Like, this is what I'm doing now. I need to take it seriously. So like, don't be offended if I'm a little bit different or if I'm a little bit distant, because I'm not going to be able to dedicate as much time to you as I have in the past. She said up until that point, like, they really did have a good relationship. He was a good boyfriend. He always tried to make her feel special, even though he didn't have a lot of money. He would always tell her, like, I'm going to get big so that I can get us a nice house. I can get my mom a big house. Like, we're going to have a really, really good life. Like, you just have to believe in me. And she did believe in him. So it's a day after he gets home from his trip. She gets home from work. He's in his room doing like recording or whatever he does. She walks in the bedroom after work to like change her. He turns his to look at her and he's like, what the F are you doing? Get the F out of here. She said he had never talked to her like that. She was like taken aback. Like, what's going on? It was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, different person. So she's like, what is your problem? She's like, don't talk to me like that. And his face softens and he's like, I'm sorry. Like, I was just in the middle of something. He's like, I was just really, really into it. Like, you just surprised me. That's all. And so she's like, okay. Like, she lets it go because this is the first time it's ever happened. So she tries to be nice and she's like, well, show me what you're working on. Like, I'm invested. I want to know. So he brings his laptop over. They're sitting on the bed. He's playing her this song that he's been working on that I guess he worked on while he was in LA with these people. And his like iMessages pops up on his computer because she said his texts were linked to his MacBook. And the text is from Jazz. Like, she sees the name and the text says, let me know when you meet him and how he works for you, LOL. He X's the message out almost as soon as it pops up. Like, he did not want her to see it, she felt like. So she was like, what was that? Like, meet who? And he was like, oh, just another person that they work with. Don't worry about it. So she's like, okay, let's it go. Couple weeks go by. He has another trip to go out and meet these people and work with them. She takes him to the airport. She's like, let me know when you land. He's like, I will. I love you. Bye. Gets on the plane. He lands. He doesn't text her. She checks his location. They shared locations on the phone. She sees that he landed, but she figures he's busy. He got picked up as soon as he landed. She's also going into work, so she doesn't think about it. She goes to work. She checks her phone on her break. He still has not texted her. It's been like 4 hours. So she texts him. She's like, did you make it okay? Checks his location. He's somewhere else. Not the same address that he was at the first time he was there. So she's got like 30 minutes on her break. So she looks up the address in her Apple Maps or whatever, figures out it's a house. It's a nice house. She texts him again. She's like, just call me when you have a minute. No response. A couple hours later, she gets home from work. His mom's there. She's like, hey, have you heard from so-and-so, her ex? His mom's like, no, like, have you? And she's like, no. She's like, you should call him. So his mom calls him. He doesn't answer. The phone rings, so it's on, but he doesn't answer. So for the next 2 hours, her and her boyfriend's mom are trying to call him, but he's not answering. The phone's ringing. All the messages are being delivered. She goes like full FBI mode and she realizes that his iCloud login is logged into his mom's iPad because his mom didn't have one. She used his account to like get games, or she used it for something. So it was logged into her iPad. So she logs into his messages. At this point in the email, she told me she doesn't care if other people think it's wrong or sneaky because you would do it too if you were in her situation. And she's able to pull up all of his text messages between him and Jazz. And she said when she first looked at the messages, she expected to find something like he was flirting with this girl or he was cheating or doing something scandalous. But actually it wasn't the case at all. There were no flirty text messages, but the messages were like super cryptic and just didn't make any sense to her. She scrolls all the way back to when Jazz texted him, let me know when you meet him and how he works for you, LOL. To which her boyfriend responded, I did meet him. He's already here. She said she couldn't make sense of a lot of the text messages, but there were other things that stood out to her. Like one text said, don't forget to practice what we taught you. Have you practiced today? There was another text that was sent at like 7 a.m. one morning when he was home, so not in LA. And it said, did you meet with him last night? How did you sleep? And there was another text because he had sent her a song clip that he was working on. And she had responded to the song clip saying, I can hear his influence clear in this one. The two of you are doing great things together. I'll send this to so and so, the producer, and I can't wait to see what the three of you do. So clearly they were talking about this other person that she had no idea who they were referring to, because it wasn't the producer, it wasn't her boyfriend, and it wasn't Jazz. But he had been at home, like there was nobody else involved with this process. So she checks his location again. He's still at that same house. He doesn't respond to her that whole night. She doesn't sleep at all that night. He finally calls her around 7 in the morning. He's like, I'm so sorry, baby. Like, I was working. I was learning how to do all this stuff. Like, we were at the studio late. She's like, I know you weren't at the studio. Look, I can see your location. And he's like, oh, yeah, like we were at his house. He tells her basically that he has another studio at his house and that they were mentoring him pretty late into the night. So he's there for a couple more days. He talked to her the whole time. She didn't get any weird vibes or anything. She picks him up a couple days later when he flies home. He gets in the car from the airport. He leans over to hug her. He pulls away. She notices like 3 burn marks on his arm. She said she would have thought it was like from like a straightener or like a curling iron, but it was like right in the middle of his forearm, like right here. She's like, what's this? He's like, oh, I scratched myself. She's like, it looks like a burn. He's like, no, I scratched myself. He brushes it off. He's like, oh my God, the biggest things are happening. Like, I'm going to be able to like, get us this house. I'm going to be able to get my mom a house. Basically, he's so excited. She doesn't want to ruin his thunder. So she's just like, okay, cool. They get home. She's all excited. She thinks they're going to have like a nice night together because she hasn't seen him in a few days. And he pretty much shuts himself immediately in the room. He's like, I have to work. I have to do this stuff. He doesn't really come out the whole night. She goes in the room later to check on him, to like hang out. He's already asleep in bed, but he's like mumbling in his sleep. She tries to wake him up because she's like, I want to hang. He mumbles louder, but she said it wasn't real words. It was like not even a real language, but he was just making these noises with his mouth. She just gets in bed next to him. She tries to fall asleep, but his mumbling intensifies. She's having a hard time sleeping. She finally falls asleep. She's woken up before the sun comes up because he grabs her in his sleep and he says, you can't take her too. She wakes him up. She's like, you're dreaming. He wakes up. He's like, I'm sorry. I don't even know what I was dreaming about. They fall back asleep. At some point in the night, he wakes up again and basically tries to like force himself on her. She basically tells him, no, I'm sleeping, to which like he had a bad reaction. She said she looked at him. His eyes were fully open, like he was awake. She's like, what are you doing? And he then like snapped out of it. He was like, I'm sorry, I must have been dreaming. Over the next couple of weeks, his anger and his temper intensifies. He's pretty much always locked in his room working. He's constantly snapping at her, his mom, and his daughter. At one point, he yelled at his little daughter so loud that it scared her. She was crying. She ran to her to comfort her. So now she's like taking care of his daughter pretty much all the time. And then it comes time for him to go back to LA. So she's like, I want to go with you this time. He's like, okay, cool. They get to the airport. Board the plane. He brings a water bottle that he bought at the airport onto the plane. He gets up before the plane takes off to go to the bathroom. While he's in the bathroom, she takes a sip of his water. He comes back, sees that she took a drink of his water bottle, and he just like flips on her. And he's like, he didn't say that you could have any of his water. And she's like, who? This is yours. And then she said it was like a change again. Like she saw his eyes change and he was like, I'm sorry, like you can drink my water. Then she's like, okay, this person has like split personality. She lets it go. They get there. She goes to the studio with him. Everything's fine. She meets Jazz. Jazz is really, really cold to her, keeps talking to her boyfriend, but like is like very dismissive of anything that she says. She keeps making like inside jokes with him. And then she tells him after they're done that it's time for her to go back to the hotel while he comes over for mentoring. And the girl that emailed me is like, absolutely not. Like, I'm going with you. Her boyfriend looks torn. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to bring her. Like, we'll drive separate. We're going to go back to our hotel first and then we'll meet you guys over there. They go back to the hotel. He's trying to convince her to stay at the hotel. He's like, you really don't want to be over there while they're just giving me tips and tricks about the industry. She's like, no, I want to go. They go back and forth for a little bit. Finally, he's like, okay, you can come, but there's something I have to tell you. Every time I've been out here, we've been doing rituals. They showed me something that I can do to channel a better part of myself. And she said immediately she did not like this, red flags, because she believes in God. She doesn't think that you should be channeling anything. She tells him this. He's like, no, but like, look at my life since I've started doing it. Like, everything is getting better. He said, basically, I have to turn him on when I work, and that's the only way that we're going to be successful. He said, you believed in me then, believe in me now. She goes, I don't want any part of this. She decides she's going to stay at the hotel while he goes over there. He doesn't come back to the hotel that night. He did go on to be relatively successful at music. She ended up breaking up with him because she couldn't deal with his like personality changes. She did give me the details of their breakup, and then he went on to date Jazz. If you want those other details, I can provide them, but I was running out of time, so tried to get the juicy parts of the story in this video. I don't know. I always just feel like the devil selling stories are like the creepiest ones that I get on here. So keep sending me your spooky scary stories. I'll keep adding them to this playlist.
That was terrifying. It reminds me of like how everybody says that when you get into the industry, the only way you can get up is if you sell yourself. And how you watch a certain entertainer or artist or whatever from the very beginning, and then all of a sudden their performances become a little bit more cryptic looking, you know. That's what it kind of reminded me of. I don't want to talk too much about it because, like I said, y'all, it's getting dark outside. But that was spooky. That was spooky. Like, how far are you willing to go to get where you want to be? Like, I just posted a video about how I feel like I'm having a midlife crisis. I'm not selling nothing except to the Lord Jesus, my Savior. Okay? I'm scared of y'all. Be nice to people. Just be nice to people. Because you just don't know what people got in their heart, in their body, or in their mind.
Do not listen to this scary story at nighttime or right before you're going to bed. Because I love you so much, I'm giving you this warning because what the fuck? So typically I listen to a lot of Spanish scary stories because I like translating them for you guys. I typically listen to these when my husband's asleep next to me and I'm just like scrolling story through story, right? I will say when I listened to this story, I got full body chills, right? But I was like, okay, cool, I'm saving this. This is gonna be a good ass story, and I just kept going. A lot of the times you guys ask me in my comments like, how do you sleep after reading all these stories? And I'm gonna be honest, I sleep perfectly well. Like, typically I'm not scared, and I wasn't scared last night, which is why it's so weird that I had a dream about this fucking story. I guess this story really impacted me more than I thought. So I'm gonna translate the story for you guys, and then I'm gonna tell you the dream that I had at the very end. So there was this girl, she was around 15 or 16 years old, and she lived with her mom. Unfortunately, her mom lost her job and they had no money, so they ended up losing their house as well. So one of the mom's family members tells them that they have a house that they can live in because they didn't want them to be homeless, but unfortunately this house was like away from civilization. This house was in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by like hills and mountains, but since the mom and daughter had nowhere else to go, they accepted the offer and decided to go live in this house. They end up going to the house, and when they get there, they notice the strangest thing ever. Right in front of the door is this big ass tree. Like, the tree was so big that when they would try to open the front door, it would be hitting that tree. So the mom thought it was really strange that the tree would be like right in front of the front door. So the people who actually gave them a ride to that house noticed the tree as well, and they told the mom that if she wanted to, they can also help her remove that tree so that it doesn't stop the front door from opening. And she agreed, so they decided to do it then and there. When they removed that tree, on the roots of like where the tree was growing, they see like a skeleton of a baby. The mom says that it looked like maybe someone had buried the baby a very long time ago because the bones of the baby skeleton were just being eaten by the roots of that tree. She said that they didn't end up telling anybody about it. She just, had the tree removed, they saw that, and they just like moved on with their lives. Time passes, and in this house, it's a 2-bedroom home. It's a little small, but it does have a hallway that leads to both of the rooms. Both the mom and the daughter start hearing noises in the hallway, and they realize that it sounds like a little baby. She even said it doesn't sound like an animal, it didn't sound like a kid, there was no like steps walking, it sounded like a baby playing in the hallway. So the mom almost felt guilty because she felt like something had happened there. I mean, they found the baby bones, and she just felt really bad that maybe the baby ghost was there. So she started leaving out baby toys in the hallway. I already have chills. So after leaving the toys in the hallway, the mom says that they would then start hearing this baby playing with those specific toys that were left out for it. She mentions that nothing scary would happen, but she did feel that over time, the baby's energy was growing and growing. So one day, the mom and daughter get into a really big fight. And I mean, they were screaming at each other, like they were going at it, and the daughter ends up going to her room and like slamming the door, and mom also goes to her room and slams the door. So when the mom goes into her room, slams the door, and sits alone, she realizes that maybe she was a little tough on her daughter. Mom felt so bad and so guilty that she's like, I'm gonna go to her room and I'm gonna, apologize, and let's try to talk through it. So the mom goes and she knocks on her daughter's door, and of course the daughter didn't answer because she was pissed. After the daughter not answering her door, the mom still decided to open the door, and she starts off with, look, I really need to talk to you. And then she stays silent. The daughter was laying on her bed and she was like, what? That's when the mom was like, get up and come with me. And the daughter's like, what? And the mom's like, get up and come with me. The daughter's like, I thought you wanted to talk to me. And she goes, shut up, get up and come with me. So once the daughter realizes that something is going on because the mom was really seriously telling her to get up, she gets up, Her mom grabs her by the hand, they leave her bedroom, close her bedroom door, and the mom takes her back to her own room. So the mom explains that when she opened her daughter's door and told her, "I need to talk to you," she looks at her daughter that's laying on the bed and she sees a baby on top of her daughter's chest. She says that the baby was not a normal baby. When the mom was telling her daughter, "Get up and come with me," that baby would hold on to her daughter even tighter, looking at the mom and smiling at her. Oh my god, look at my arm. I think the reason why I imagine these stories in my head, so I'm seeing this shit like a movie in my brain. Can you imagine? She walked in there feeling so guilty that she got into a fight with her mom, tries to talk to her, and fucking sees a baby on her daughter's chest as she's telling her, "Get up and let's go." Baby hugs her daughter tighter while looking at her smiling. They left that house that night and never looked back, didn't go back to investigate, didn't want to know what the fuck happened there, because at that point it wasn't just a little innocent baby ghost, because she saw a baby, but it was not a normal looking baby. Now for my dream. So in my dream, I'm laying in bed. Leave it to me to take naps in my dream too. And next to me is one of my exes, because my dream wasn't scary enough. And in my dream, I'm waking up because I'm feeling something crawling up my body. And when this thing finally gets to the very top, I see a scary looking baby with fucking crazy teeth. And you know how like in your dreams you can't fight, it's like slow motion? Well, as soon as I saw that face, my hand was like trying to push it away. I mean, the baby was like biting my hand, and I was like, what do I do? Because I'm moving so slowly. I was pushing that baby towards my ex, who was still asleep, because what the fuck, take him, not me. But this baby wouldn't give up. It kept trying to come at me, and to the point where I'm slowly moving my fucking head away. It doesn't sound as scary, but like it was fucked up in my dream. Okay, so the baby's still crawling, and once it's like face to face to me, I guess I got so spooked that I woke myself up. All it had to do was go to my ex, like, why the fuck would you want me? But no, I got really scared. I woke up and I was like, what the fuck was I dreaming about right now? Anyway, I hope you don't have dreams about this story.
So that was crazy. But my first confusion, honey, is when y'all, first of all, when I saw the baby underneath the roots, I would have called somebody, and I would have had a question about whether or not I'm staying in that house just from that. Because I don't know if y'all found it's a dead baby, because you know that they can't put somebody in jail unless they had a body. So that's number one. Number two, once I heard the baby crying or whatever playing, I'm not going to leave no toys out for it. And then I'm proud of y'all for actually leaving the house that night, because that's crazy. And I hope y'all don't have nightmares tonight. But I hope y'all enjoyed these TikTok story times. Let me know if you like the scary ones, if you want some more date ones, or just let me know. Bye.